everything in our life is controlled by 3 decisions. I think one of the most powerful things we do to serve you is have you become clear of what the controlling force is that's controlling the quality of your life. And you and I both know it's not the amount of money in your pocket, it's not who you know, it's not even what you've been through. It's really the decisions you make moment to moment.
Do something different the next 90 days than you did the last 90 days, like picking up the books to read. Do something different, like the new health disciplines, relationship with your family, whatever it is, doesn't matter how small it is. If you'll start doing different things with the same circumstances, since we cannot change the circumstances, we can change ourselves. We can change what we do.
You got to get a little bit more intense about your life, about your business. You got to stop being so dadgum casual. You got to get in the game. If you're going to play the game, let's play to win it. Let's play to max it out. Let's play to 10x it. I want you shaking. I want you feeling it. I want your intensity level to go up, because it's decisions we make to chase that best version of us every second, every day, that every day alters the direction, the course of our life.
Where your focus goes, your energy flows. I need us to look at all the possibilities, all of the potential, and I need us to go for it every single day.
Most people go through life never discovering what their talents are. Most people never develop their talents. They have skills and abilities, but if you don't nurture them, if you don't develop them, they will never serve you. Your gifts can take you many places if you develop your gifts. And you'll be surprised at the things that you're able to do. When you learn how to block things out, when you learn how to keep thine eyes single, learning how to concentrate, learning how to focus in, deciding that you're going to focus to develop your skills, you'll be surprised at the ideas that will come to you, of the people that you'll be able to attract, of the opportunities that you'll be able to see. You'll begin to see things that have been standing there looking you in the face saying, I can't believe this has been here all this time. But you can learn all the techniques in the world. If you don't believe in yourself, it won't happen for you.
Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Start working on yourself, making these personal changes. If you'll start working harder on yourself than you do on your job. Work hard on yourself and develop the graces. All of the stuff necessary to become more valuable to the marketplace. I'm telling you, your whole life can explode into change. Promotion, no problem. Money, no problem. Economics, no problem. Future, no problem. You just go to work on the right thing. Let the miracle of everything that's available work for you, and start working on the inside. Work on your philosophy. Work on your attitude. Work on your personality. Work on all of your abilities. And if you'll start making those personal changes, I'm telling you, everything will change for you.
This is a turning point. And when you say I'm going to change, just think of this. The change can be huge, absolutely huge. And the change is permanent. You will never go back. You see, awareness is something you cannot lose. Most of us, when we're thinking of learning, we get hooked up on school stuff, and it's the intellect we're thinking of. Because that's what school focuses on, the intellect. If you get the degree, you've learned it. If you get this, you've learned it. Why are there so many people with degrees come right off their business card that don't know the war's over? They're losing. That's not in the intellect, it's in the awareness. Think of this. A person isn't earning $100,000 a year because they want $100,000 a year. They're earning $100,000 a year because they're not aware of how to earn $100,000 a month. When you help develop their awareness, it's something they won't lose. Like a baby is not aware of the difference between a woman and a man. Baby's not aware of the difference in a female and a male. That is something a baby has to become aware. They have to learn that. And when the baby develops the awareness, they never lose it. That'll help you understand the difference between awareness and intellect. When you become aware of how your paradigm is controlling you, and then how to change it, there's no end to where you can go or what you can do. None. Now, let's suppose That's the only thing you change as a result of this conference. You're going to change your perception of this business. You're going to change your perception of you in this business. You're never going to look at this company and your position in it the same way again. You're going to see this as a vehicle that will take you anywhere you want to go, and there's nothing can stop you.
Success is something you attract by the person you become. See, that phrase changed my life. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Success is not something you pursue. It's like chasing a butterfly, you can't quite catch it. Success is something you attract by becoming an attractive person.
The brain is basically designed to be customized in the early part of life, and then to implement those algorithms and that circuitry for the rest of its life. And so the brain can change in adulthood, and it can change provided that there's an emphasis on some perceptual event. So in other words, if you want to change your brain as an adult, let's say you want to be less anxious, you want to learn a new language, you want to be more functional in some way, presumably. The key thing is to bring focus to some particular perception of something that's happening during the learning process. And the reason for that is that there's a neurochemical system involving acetylcholine. And it comes from these two little nuclei down in the base of the brain called nucleus basalis. All day long, you're doing things in a reflexive way. But when you do something and you think about it very intensely, acetylcholine is released from basalis at the precise neurons that were involved in that behavior, and it marks those for change during sleep or during deep rest later. So for people that want to change their brain, the power of focus is really the entry point, and the ability to access deep rest and sleep. Because most people don't realize this, but neuroplasticity is triggered by intense focus. But neuroplasticity occurs during deep sleep and rest. One of the things that's really important also to think about how the brain works in terms of plasticity and all this stuff is what the brain really wants to do is also pass as much of what it does off to reflexive behavior as possible. So, so when we're talking about focus, I think it can get a little bit vague, but it might be useful to think about like what exactly is focus and what triggers plasticity. So the brain loves to be able to just do things, pick up coffee cups and drink and walk and talk and do things and not put much energy into it. When we decide to focus, what the brain really does is it switches on a set of circuits that involve the frontal cortex and nucleus basalis and some others, and it's trying to understand duration, how long something's going to last, path, what's going to happen, and outcome, what ultimately is going to happen. So duration, path, and outcome. You know, the events of early 2020 are a good example of this. One of the reasons why it's so exhausting to be alive in 2020 is because we are now having to pay attention to duration, path, and outcome. How long is this thing going to last? When are they going to open up all businesses? Did I touch that door handle? Does it matter? Right. Who are the experts? Are there any experts? There are a lot of questions, whereas normally we can just move through life without having to do all that analysis. So if it's a simple example, like trying to learn a new language or a new motor skill or a new way of conceptualizing something, maybe somebody's in a therapeutic process and they're trying to work through a trauma or something like that, duration, path, and outcome is built into the networks of the brain. We can do that very easily, but it takes work. And it almost has a feeling of underlying agitation and frustration. And that's because the circuits that turn on before acetylcholine are of the stress system. So when you or I decide we're going to learn something and really dig in, norepinephrine, which is adrenaline, is secreted in the brainstem and in the body, and it brings about a state of alertness. Then our attention, which is mostly a diffuse light, is brought to a particular duration, path, and outcome analysis. This would be thinking about what somebody is saying. What are they really trying to say? A hard passage of reading, a hard, set of math problems, a challenging physical workout. When you do that, these two systems have to work very hard, and the adult brain doesn't really want to change the algorithms it learned in childhood. But if you do those two things, you have alertness and focus. The acetylcholine and the norepinephrine converge to mark those synapses for change. And so the way to think about neuroplasticity, if one wants to change their brain, is bring about the most intense concentration you can to something, and then later bring about the least amount of concentration to that thing.